Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and joining me today is Sal Segala, but we also have a guest. Fran Kennealy is here with us today, and I'm going to hand the mic over to Sal, and he's going to get things started for us. But first of all, welcome to the show, Fran.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So our guest today is Fran Kennealy. She's the mother of Joey and Robbie Kennealy, who race in the ARCA West Series West. Robbie's a full-time driver, and her son Joey is a part-time driver, but Joey still competes in the pro late model division. I know he's raced in Madeira and he's raced in a few other tracks. So with that, we want to welcome Fran to the show. Welcome to the show, Fran.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So in the past, me and Sharon have done different things with, as far as guests, on the show, spotters, talk to some of the owners. And we always like talking to the moms because it's the moms, it seems like, that are more excited about the racing. But then on the flip side, there's always, the danger of the racing, that we always like to ask them about. So as we get going, into, the few different subjects we're going to reach, first of all, we'd like to know how you and your sons got into racing.
So my late husband, Gary, always had a passion for NASCAR. When we first met, he was actually on the crew for a super comp drag racing team. I had never been exposed to racing, and it was a fun family experience. And back in the day, we were parked next to John Force and the Corbell group, but I never really understood the full scope of everything. And then after we had our kids, so Robbie and Harley are twins, and then Joey is 2.5 years younger. Yeah, so we ended up becoming members at the Tri-Valley Quarter Midget Association in Livermore. And then we had bought one car thinking that both Robbie and Harley were going to be able to alternate driving the car, but that didn't work. So at that time, Harley proved to be a more aggressive driver than Robbie was. And we always used to joke saying he was the gentleman driver. Because during training and a couple of his first races, he would put his hand out the window and kind of wave people by, and we'd be like, "Oh, honey, it doesn't work that way." So we did quarter midgets for 8 years, and then we finally decided, they did their rookie year, they did their junior Honda, senior Honda, it was Light 160, Light World Formula. And then we finally decided we needed to move up to something else. So Gary was always an asphalt guy. We never did dirt. And so Madeira Raceway was very close to where we were. So we were living in Oakley at the time. And so we literally bought a late model car from Tennessee. And why back there, I don't know, but it was just at the time the right thing to do. But we knew nothing about it. So, the kids were still young. At this point, they were, 8 years. So they were 13. Robbie and Harley were 13. We literally did everything, we could to get them on the track and figure out what the late model was. But we did okay. We pieced the car together. We were doing, basically duct tape type stuff to keep them on the track, keep them going. And then we obviously had, other race families that were helping us out and helping Gary and saying, hey, this is what you need to do. And you really need to look at this and, focus on this kind of thing. And so we continued to do that for 2 years. So we literally were doing everything we could to, keep the kids on the track with what we had. So in the meantime, Joey raced, he did a mini cup, he did a bando, and then we finally bought him his late model car. Harley did the mini cup. She had a late model. And then she also had a truck that she ran in the street stock series. So kind of to how we got here now was we had moved to Madeira in 2021. And it was just after COVID. So Gary had fully retired. The kids were remote learning. My job transferred to a remote position. And so we just needed more space. And so we found this house in Madeira that we bought and moved into. And then unfortunately, 6 months later, well, before that, Robbie was getting better with his driving. And so Gary was talking with the Zampas, and Joey says, look, I'm selling Logan Zampa's, championship car. And so we were like, okay, we think we're at that level. So we bought that car, and they started to work on it. The Zampas, were helping us out, getting it to a level for Robbie. And then unfortunately, after we moved into our house, 6 months into it, we had a house fire. So we had an electrical fire, and this house has like a little separate garage alongside. And so the RV was parked out front of it. So unfortunately, it was the RV that caught on fire, which actually took over the whole side garage, which the new car that we had just bought for Robbie was in it. At that time, Harley and Kyle had just started talking, because now they've been dating going on 4 years now. So they had just started talking, and sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
I remember we were just watching the structure burn down when John Keller got on the phone and told Harley, tell Robbie not to worry. I have a car for him. And so he put Robbie in a car. Robbie raced. He only had 2 races left for the series. So he raced the one race and then actually won the last race of that series. So it kind of set us into motion with the Keller family at that time. We had the opportunity to buy an ARCA team at the tail end of 2023. Which at that point, John was our team manager. And then we had brought on Brian Kaiser with BC Kaiser, Aiden. And then we also had Charlie Wilson with Tommy Hurst and Stephanie Hurst. So we were just building an amazing team. We had a renter. And so it was really going good. So unfortunately, with the business, it's very expensive to run. If you don't have the renters, it just makes it very difficult to run the operation. Robbie unfortunately blew a motor at Kern, which kind of ended his season. Kyle was able to stay on track for that season until we got to race number, it was like 10. So we were at Madera, the ARCA race number 10 at Madera, where Kyle had an incident and the car was damaged, and we just couldn't afford to fix it in time to move on to the next race. So that was when John Keller had reached out to Jan Quakenbush, who literally gave Kyle a car to run for those last 2 races of that season. And then from then on, we've kind of built the relationship with Jan. Robbie and Kyle were going to Glendora to work on cars. And so Jan at first was like, oh, I think I want to put Robbie in a car for, one of the races. And then it became that Kyle and Robbie were going to be his full-time drivers for 2025. And so here we are. Joey actually had the opportunity to drive at Kern. That was not his debut race. At the tail end of 2024, unfortunately, is when we lost my husband, Gary, in September.
Sorry. Don't worry.
So it was Gary's dream to see both boys in an ARCA. So thanks to, I'm going to say it's family, but, our family friends, Mandy and Jason Lawton, Dean Gould, and John Keller literally put a car together for Joey to drive. So he actually drove October 5th, which October 4th was Gary's birthday. He was actually able to drive his debut ARCA race that weekend at All American Speedway. And it was an amazing tribute that ARCA helped put on as they had Trevor Huddleston do a missing man tribute, which was amazing. And then, the stands were full. Stands were full with, people that were there to support us and just cheer the kids on. It was an amazing night for all the kids and the family. So here we are. Just finished, race number 6 of the ARCA Menard.
It's a pretty amazing story, to hear, how you got started, all the obstacles you guys had to conquer, to get where you're at today. Was there ever a time when maybe the kids growing up, that maybe you wanted them to play like, you know, basketball, soccer, or baseball play or anything like that?
Robbie, I feel, was always committed to racing. If he had an interest, he knew that this was his passion and this was where his time needed to be focused on. Joey has always wanted to do like basketball on the side, and just recently, within the last 3 years, started playing because it's on the off season. He gets to start like November, December with practice and coaching and go until March, right before the race season starts. And even if it kind of carries over, it hasn't really affected a race. So, unfortunately, as we all know, it's like racing weekends and shop time and everything else just consumes the weekends, and then trying to squeeze in family time and everything else. It's kind of hard to squeeze in an extra sport.
So with the distance, because I've been at Jan's shop a few times. So with the distance between where you guys live out by Madera, then Jan and Glendora, it's like what, a 4.5 hour drive. How is it that the boys are able to get back and forth, and they help Jan with the car, and also to get prep for each race?
So they drive down there, and so they will actually spend days at a time. So they'll go down like on a Monday morning and usually, stay until Thursday or Friday. Obviously Joey's in school still right now, so he can't really, do a lot of time during the week. Robbie is available, Kyle's available. But the boys are also doing some late model stuff. So Robbie is crew chiefing Joey. So, he's got to be back home to get Joey's car ready and get it prepped for a race weekend. Kyle's been doing some late model racing and helping his dad with his program. So, there's a lot obviously to maneuver schedule wise. So Harley's been working at the shop with John Keller for a little while, but now she's been taking some little vacation time, some little girl time, and doing some week getaways with the Lawton family. Yeah, so they try and do the best they can to get out there as much as they can.
That's good. It's good. They're keeping themselves occupied too. Now moving into the ARCA series, Robbie's sitting in, I believe, 6th in points right now. You guys just got back from Sonoma, where he had a little bit of a racing incident. Actually, he's 5th in points. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of a racing, incident, that kind of sent him back a little bit. But I mean, he seems like he's the type that'll be strong to to bounce back from it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it made it easier for you to attend the race because Sonoma's is a lot closer than all the other tracks.
Yes, it was a lot closer for sure. It was a 2.5 hour drive for us.
So looking at Jan right now, Jan comes in, and he gives the the boys an opportunity to race, which I know it's got to be huge because ARCA racing it's not cheap. There's a lot of commitment. There's a lot that goes on, behind the scenes, to get out to the track. First of all, the prep, and then travel, since all the races, are different tracks. And not only that, but then, drivers, making sure they're ready to go.
Yeah, no, 100%. It definitely, but it takes a village. Jan has built an amazing race team. So he has brought in a lot of people to help with the boys. So we have, Brian Kaiser as crew chief for Kyle, Chris Greeny, crew chief for Robbie, Keith Swanson, crew chief for Joey at Kern. We have BC doing tires, Joey doing tires when he wasn't racing. We have Aiden Kaiser spotting, Jason Lawton, John Keller. We had Jason Allen. I mean, a lot of good people, in the kids' ears, helping them out, guiding them. I know I'm going to forget somebody with names here, but he literally, a lot of folks are even coming just to help and not asking for anything monetarily. We have John Christensen and his daughter Charlotte that come just to help. So, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And, I'm forever grateful for everything that he's done, because, there's no way that you can repay something like that, to give these kids this opportunity. And the equipment that he's putting him in is amazing. And, I could be on the phone with Jan, for hours at a time, and he just wants to talk like flux capacitor stuff. A lot of the stuff doesn't mean anything to me. So, I'm just like, that sounds great, Jan. That's perfect, but he is just, his mind is going 24/7. And if it's not his race shop stuff, it's, his tow business. So, it's amazing to me how he just keeps both plates spinning. And, and Jeff Schrader is another one with the whole Huddleston team. They're totally networking all the time. Mike Fisk, Sunrise Ford. So, it's just amazing just to hear, his networking that he does day in and day out, just to make stuff happen. And, we did have that unfortunate incident in Sonoma for both boys. But it will only bring us back stronger, because now the team knows what needs to be done for the next one. And we're headed to Tri-City, Washington for the next one. So we're excited. So they're all at the shop right now. Harley, Kyle, Robbie are all at the shop today, and they're going to stay there through the end of the week. And we'll see, what they come back with, and try and figure out if that car can be put back together, or if they're going to put a replacement car into place for Robbie for Portland. So, so all the great minds are there. That's all I can ask for, is that, he's Jan gives 150% to everyone. So, and I'm forever grateful for that opportunity.
And with that, I know Sharon is the host. I know she's got a few questions for you, Fran.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, we're so thankful that you're able to take some time out today to chat with us. And, from a mom's perspective, there's so many people that you've been explaining that are involved with the program. But I know you are probably one of the biggest supporters of Robbie and Harley and Kyle. So tell us about how you see your role with the group.
So, what's funny is I've only missed one race, and I missed a race of Robbie's years ago. And it was actually for a Rich Klitzing memorial when he was in quarter midgets. And I had to go back east for one of my church conventions, and Robbie won that race. And I said, I will never miss another race again. So, as a mom, it's so hard, because you obviously want to protect your kids on the track. And I remember, even in the younger years, like the cars flipping, or, them getting into incidents on the track. And I'd go running out there, and the kids would be fine until they saw me. And so then as soon as they saw me, then they would get hysterical. And Gary would be like, you just need to stay on the side. Just don't come on the track. And I said, okay, I can do that. Just give me a thumbs up. That's all I ask, is that when you get out there, give me a thumbs up that they're good. So trackside wise, that's kind of been my role. So, I've had, things to do in the quarter midget world, but once you start moving up, it's like, you just kind of become team mom. So we take care of the trackside food. We take care of hotels. Obviously the financial side of whatever I can do to help, their safety gear, that kind of stuff. I'm not one to say that I'm a moral support, so to speak, for the kids, because again, I'm not the flux capacitor person. How it's really happened, because I can tell you, like at Sonoma, I was very verbal in my displeasure about what was happening at the track, but everyone else was like, it's a racing incident, and I'm like, I don't see it that way, but so you know what, I want to be at the track just to support them. If they need anything, I'm there. I don't need to be in the limelight. I don't need to be up front and center, as long as they know that if something happens, if they need me, that I'm there trackside. So, I don't know. I mean, that's, pretty much my role right now. I think, we've always talked about this handoff. Like Gary and I have brought the kids up to a certain point where we can no longer go any further, and you just have to hand them off to somebody else. Like, we always say it takes a village, right? When they're in school, you hand them off to their elementary school teacher. When they're in elementary school, you hand them off to the next, mentors and guiders that, have them. And so now it's, we've gone through the late model program. And so in ARCA, it's, the next mentors. It's the next level of expertise that these kids have to mentor them to hopefully the next level of whatever it brings them, a year or two from now. So
Absolutely. And it is a huge role that you play as mom. So I don't want to diminish that in any way, because without that kind of support, like you say, when something happened on the track, they kind of fall apart as soon as they see mom because they have that emotion there.
mm-hmm.
So I think it's great that you're there at every race. I hate that you missed the one that he won.
I know. Never again. That's for sure.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really, really happy to know that you're there and helping to support everybody. And do they come home? Do they ever want to talk to you about what happened at the track or what's going on? No.
You know what thankfully they have a lot of bonus dads and, a lot of mentors that they chat with. So, I think like after a race, they pretty much debrief with Chris and Brian Kaiser and Jan and, the whole team, and they kind of talk through everything. And so, when it comes to me, I mean, I get that, Mom, you don't really know what I'm talking about, which, honestly, sometimes I don't. So, but I just like to hear it, coming from them. But, I know that whatever they're feeling and whatever issues they're having, whether it's in the car, whatever, it's better relayed, and even amongst themselves. Like, the kids amongst themselves will talk racing stuff, but they understand it a lot better, they speak that language. So.
Oh, okay. And that makes sense. That they want to talk about it with everybody else. I'm not even a racing mom other than my own interest in racing.
Yes.
But my kids tell me the same thing. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
So, I think that's just a mom thing. So I'm going to pass it back over to Sal. Did you have a couple more questions, Sal?
Yeah, I probably got maybe one more. So,
Oh, okay.
With everything that, it's gone on, throughout their careers, like I said, now we're, you guys are set, with Jan's racing, Jan's, doing his best, to give, not only good equipment, but good guidance,
Mm-hmm.
and give them an atmosphere, that's positive, try to keep all the negativity out, which is hard, and especially in the racing, yourself, in the racing community, especially when you got young up and coming drivers. What is the one thing that you would say is one of Jan's biggest assets to his own racing team?
You know what? He gives wholeheartedly. He would give you the shirt off his back. He treats our kids like they are his own. When they are down there, I mean, he literally, treats them to, lunches and dinners and casino trips and massages and takes them to the simulators. Oh my goodness.
Casino?
I'm telling you. Yes.
Massages?
They do. Because they have to decompress a little, Sal. They need to, get into their racing mentality or whatever they need to get into.
The zone.
Into the zone, exactly.
Well, you know why? Because Jan's zone is the casino.
Yes.
That's Joan's second. That's Jan's second home.
Yes.
That's Jan's getaway, and that's where Jan shines. So I guess he wants some of that.
Just to share it. He wants to share it with his boys.
Yeah. He wants that luck. They talk about the rabbit's foot. You know what? Next time I'm going to rub Jan's foot and go to the casino, and hopefully I can have the luck that he has.
I know.
Yeah.
I know for sure. Yeah, but he definitely, like I said, he doesn't anything equipment wise. He doesn't spare any money. I mean, when it comes to safety of those kids, brakes, harnesses, seats, belts, whatever it takes. He makes sure that not only are the cars top notch, but that the kids are safe. So yeah.
One thing, I hope you talk about him keeping the kids safe. I hope he keeps them away from the hat tamales, because those are not safe. He steered me wrong on that. Told me everything else he told me to eat was good, and he said eat the tamale. So I hope when they go to the hat that he doesn't tell me to eat a tamale, because that is not safe.
Well, you don't have to worry about Robbie, because Robbie is a plain meat cheese bun guy. So if Hal gets a little venturous there, then that's on him.
But as far as Jan knows all the hot spots. So
oh yes,
I mean they will be well fed.
Yes.
So
They're
does
well
Sal. Sal knows all the hot spots.
Oh yeah, I do. But I mean they're well taken care of. But the key thing that you hit on was safety.
Yes.
Which is key. You know what? He gives them, the best harnesses, he gives them the best seats, make sure that they're well protected when they're in the race car. And it's sad because I've gone around the country and I've seen race cars that are not safe, and the fathers will still put their kids in them because either they can't afford it, or they're cutting corners to put the money somewhere else, or they figure my son's indestructible, he'll never get hurt, whatever reason. But I mean, that was key when you said safety, and that's one thing, and I've noticed Jan in his tow truck business too, everything is, and as a mom, that has to really give you that extra, assurance, because like I said earlier, we know that racing is a very dangerous sport, and, anything can happen and anything will happen.
Yes. Yes, 100%. And obviously, like you said, with his towing business, he sees a lot of those incidents, right? The cars going off the road or off the cliff, and fatalities and injuries that, could have been avoided. So, it's like his mind, he's looking at both sides of everything, right? So, completely appreciate everything that he's done.
Well, Fred, from my end, I just want to say thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for all the input. Thanks for everything you share with us. Good luck with you and the boys, the rest of the season, and of course, seasons beyond. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you at the racetrack. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Sharon.
Okay, Fran, we're so thankful again that you're here today with us and giving us the mom's perspective of racing in ARCA West Series. So before you go, I know you've really praised a lot of people, but are there any other shout outs that you want to do before we leave?
I want to thank Wiley X. Wiley X Protective Eyewear is my brother-in-law who literally has supported the kids for probably 14 years now. American Swim Academy, my employer, has literally been behind us, like I said, ever since they were in Quarter Midgets. Jason and Lisa Ryder, they own 637 Collectibles. They actually help us with Hot Wheel cars at every race. So we actually give those out at the autograph session, at the ARCA Menards autograph session, and then also for Joey's when they have them there at All American. I think I've pretty much the Holden family this year for stepping in and helping Joey. They've been a huge help with the late model program at All American this year for us. Gosh, there's so many, and I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. Nobody gets offended, but I mean, as a mom, like I said, I just, you can never thank everybody enough for everything, because it does take everybody to raise the kids. And thankfully, they do have a lot of bonus moms and bonus dads that, jump in at any time.
I love it. Bonus moms and bonus dads.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's great. And Fran, we hope maybe if the opportunity arises, you wouldn't be afraid to come back and chat with us again somewhere down the road. But we always like seeing the other side of motorsports. And you've done a really great job of sharing that with us today. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Now, I do want to tell everybody, do watch for more. Sal and I are just getting started today. We're going to have our reviews of the racing at Sonoma Raceway this weekend. The ARCA West Series, the Xfinity Series, and the NASCAR Cup Series, all at Sonoma this weekend. And what a weekend it was. So look forward to that. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern tonight, we are going to have our live stream, NASCAR Hot Topic Sound Off, with both Jay and Chris joining me as we discuss all the hottest topics in NASCAR. And then Of course, we can't leave us out there without saying thank you to everyone for tuning in. We appreciate everybody. We have a lot of fun doing this, and we hope you enjoy watching. So take care, and we'll see you all in the next video.
All right. Thanks.